is Kaylin Charbonnet. I'll be your host for the weekend. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for being here. We have a panel this morning. In our first panel, of course, we're dedicating everything to beauty, but this is Essence, 30 years. Are we ready? Are we ready? I want to hear a little noise, a little love. Okay, good. Yes. So first up, we're going to be talking about A-Beauty, okay? The state of beauty, the power of beauty. And I'm thrilled to introduce a panel that delves into a rising phenomenon in the beauty world, A-Beauty. So we may know about K-beauty, right, Korean beauty, but we're going to go into African beauty, okay? Much like the K-beauty from Korea, A-beauty is making waves and gaining traction globally. Today we'll explore this exciting movement with industry leaders who are at the forefront of different brands like A-beauty retailers. These pioneers are showing us why returning to our roots and our ultimate skincare revolution, it doesn't stop there. So this panel will discuss how the beauty industry intertwines with social, political climate of the world. We've gathered makeup artists, a diverse group of experts, including dermatologists and hairstylists and makeup artists, to share their insights on the future of beauty and reflect on the incredible journey we've embarked on so far. So get ready for an enlightening conversation that promises to inspire and educate. Let's dive into the A-beauty world. So first up, I have the honor to introduce our first moderator, Ms. Tariro McConey. Okay, moderating this panel for A-Beauty, her expertise lies at the intersection of strategy and culture. She is an angel investor, brand advisor, cultural strategist. In her often viral case studies via TikTok and Instagram, she's known for leveraging theoretical frameworks in the trending cultures of fashion, beauty, and fashion. Having become a sought-after voice within the industry, Tariro has been interviewed and featured by publications such as Vogue Business, Vogue Harper's Bazaar, The Cut, TechCrunch, and Elle, and more. So looking forward for this panel. Y'all give them a little bit of love. Show them some love.
Hi, everyone. Oh, is the mic on? Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Hi. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining. We are here at the State of A-Beauty panel. I'm really excited to dig into this exciting conversation about this new wave of A-Beauty with my brilliant co-guests today. We have Sabrina Elba, who's the founder of Sable Skin. We have Delaney Camillwood, who's the founder of Skintellect, and Abena Boma Achiampong, who's the founder of Hana Hana Beauty. If you could give us all a round of applause for them before we start going. Just to give a very quick introduction on what we'll be talking about today, as I'm sure you may be aware, A-Beauty is currently having a cultural renaissance. These women are truly at the forefront of pioneering this new wave of A-Beauty, or African beauty, which is gaining a lot of traction for a scientific use of ingredients that are native to regions across Africa known for addressing skin concerns like hyperpigmentation, dry skin, anti-aging, which we're good at, so it's nice to get some credit for it. Another thing that A-Beauty is really known for, and I want to hammer in today with these ladies, is it's just as much about skin as it is about culture. And community and connecting the diaspora through skincare and ingredients that are known, that remind you of your mom's kitchen table, and then now you get to integrate that within your routine every day. So I will pass it over to these ladies for very quick. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and most importantly, what does A-Beauty mean to you?
Shall I go first? First of all, I'm so excited to be sitting here with these amazing women who really are at the forefront of A-Beauty, and who I've grown to love recently, but over the past couple weeks for sure. If you haven't heard of their brands, it's amazing. And I love how you introduced the concept of A-beauty, because I think it's important that people realize it's not just because it's trendy, it's because it's efficacious. And these ingredients have so much power and hold so much strength in when they are combined in these formulations. And I just want to remind people that we don't do this because we think it's just a cool thing to do. Hey, let's incorporate some baobab, but we do it because it makes the formulations better. And I think our formulations are a credit to that. Where it gets a little bit complicated is that we want A-beauty to rise. We want it done in the right way. And I think historically there's been a slight appropriation of these ingredients, and a lot of people know these ingredients for the wrong reasons. They might find them in the aisles of Whole Foods or Erewhon without any faces, without any stories, and the culture behind that ingredient has been lost. So I think we have a responsibility to not only lift these ingredients up, but to remind people of where they're from, and to do it in a way that doesn't hurt the communities that they're coming from. I do a lot of work in agriculture, but Hannah does a lot of work behind sustainable sourcing around ingredients like shea. Like, I think it is very important that if you're going to go now look for these ingredients, that you make sure you're getting behind a brand that is doing it ethically, responsibly, and sourcing these ingredients in a way that has a cross benefit. But they work. The ingredients are amazing, and A-beauty is definitely the new wave. It's been around a long time, but we are championing it here.
Yes. Thank you, Sabrina.
How do I follow up that? But I'm Delanique Millwood. I'm the founder of Skintellect, and Skintellect is essentially a new A-beauty platform. It's a retailer that's really not pioneering, but more so supporting and championing the voices of A-beauty brands like Hana Beauty and Sable Labs. We are essentially curating products that are made for melanin-rich skin, but not just melanin-rich skin, but also safe for everyone, because melanin-rich skin is one of the most sensitive skin, and if you can make products that cater to that, then you're winning at making products that's good for everyone. We're still in that uptick stage, and I'm very excited to kind of see where it goes. But yeah, I'm just really excited to be here with Hana and Sable Labs, Sabrina and Abina. So yeah.
Right. Hello. This is so exciting. So my name is Abina Bwama, the founder of Hana Beauty. And Hana Beauty, we are creating daily use body care products through the lens of humanity. And for us, what that looks like is how we source our raw materials all the way to how we create great quality products. And we always say this, at the end of the day, we don't want you to be ashy, and so that's why we're here, you know? And we look at that through a level of sustainability, and I think that's why A-beauty is so important, is because we have the opportunity not only to utilize ingredients, but these are things that we've used traditionally that are efficacious, like Sabrina said, but also we have the opportunity to really reflect around sustainability when it comes from the producers, the farmers, all the way to our community. And a lot of the times, like, our ingredients are used in all over in so many different products, but we're forgotten. And so I think it's important as a diaspora for us to really be able to not only support through our dollars, but also support through how we learn about the products and share the products too.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Thank you. There's so many interesting themes that we'll continue to touch on in this conversation, like belonging and community, sustainability. But I actually want to dig in with you, Delanique, on curation. I know that Skintellect is obviously an A-beauty focused retailer, but we're also, in this age of the globalization of beauty, right? We have K-beauty or Korean beauty, Japanese beauty or J-beauty, French beauty. So could you tell us a little bit more about how you think about curating A-beauty specifically? What makes it different, or what stands out about it for your customer base? And also, what types of products do you look for, considering, you know, the consumer is more conscious or more aware? How should we be engaging and interacting more meaningfully?
Yeah, no, great question. So the way I think about A-beauty is celebrating this rich biodiversity of African botanicals, as well as these ancient rituals that have been around for eons, years, right? And so for us at Skintellect, it's essentially looking at those products that are catering to melanin-rich skin. When we think about hyperpigmentation, when we think about dry skin, we think about those skin concerns that we're deeply dealing with on an everyday basis. So whether it's like dehydration or hyperpigmentation, and hyperpigmentation can look differently for on every skin tone, but specifically darker skin tone, it hasn't been historically studied in, especially from a derm perspective. So working and also sourcing brands that understand that and are also really kind of like embedded into the science and the innovation. Like I love what Sable Lab is doing because I feel like it's bringing that innovation to A Beauty that we haven't necessarily been able to tap into because of the lack of resources, and really looking into how we can prevent hyperpigmentation. So for me, it's more so like ethical sourcing because we do have that social responsibility to do so. Fair wage, I know Hana Beauty is also really good about that. And not to make it a socio-political thing because I think A Beauty in itself is super radical, but is leaning into brands that are at the forefront of that, making sure that A Beauty is at the core of everything they do. And A Beauty it's a social responsibility, but also kind of tapping into that core ingredient that we generally are using on our skin. So from the shea butter to Casil to Cerise from Jamaica. So leaning into brands that are really leaning into that as well.
I love that. Thank you so much. I think what you touched on is really interesting because it connects so closely with Sabrina's story with Sable. And I think a lot of people may not know. Sabrina, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Sabrina is a licensed and talented esthetician who spent an intensive amount of time studying skin, thinking about the efficacy of products and of ingredients that matter. And what I love so much about Sable, and I think Delanique, you also touched on it, is it brings scientific and innovative skincare, but it's also rooted in these themes of your mother and, the kitchen table and watching her do these masks at home. And obviously the adolescent experience of growing up in the diaspora. So I would love to kind of, if you could share a little bit more about how you thought about all of these elements when launching your own brand and how you integrated all of these disparate themes in such a beautiful way.
I mean, it's so funny to hear you say that because I used to reject everything my mom was doing when I was younger. Like, I thought she had no idea what she was talking about with her Casil and her shea and her turmeric. I was like, Mom, you have not been to a Sephora. Like, don't talk to me about skincare. And, it's coming full circle now to the point where she feels she can take credit for the brand. Like, she'll tell people, yeah, this was all my idea. But I think it just, it goes to show, I think, perhaps there was this unintentional buying into an industry that actually wasn't buying into me. I was so persuaded by the marketing of brands in my teenage years, like Clearasil, Neutrogena, those brands aren't for us, let's be real, right? But I was convinced that they were and that was what I needed on my bathroom shelf to fit in with my friends. And I grew up in Vancouver, Canada, and I was the only black girl in my high school, so you can just imagine. I don't even think I heard the word melanin until I was probably in my early 20s. Like I was very uninformed, so I rejected the notion of A-beauty initially. And it was at the point where I was so frustrated with my hyperpigmentation, and I didn't realize all of the money I was spending, and I was spending a lot of money, girls, was not doing anything for my skin. If anything, it was damaging my skin barrier more, and then creating this cyclical effect for hyperpigmentation. Because what brands tend to do is they'll sell you a dark skin tones, like a dark spot remover at the end of a brand. So you got like a dark spot and you're like, okay, I need to get rid of this in really quickly. I'm gonna use this remover. But the rest of the range is going to re-trigger that inflammation, which is going to re-trigger the hyperpigmentation. And it was kind of like this aha moment for me when I was formulating that I realized I'm not going to be a brand and I'm not going to play into this cyclical version of hyperpigmentation. I'm going to treat the issue holistically. So we had to start at square one, remove all sensitizing ingredients, so that's fragrances, drying alcohols, and then pack the formulations with antioxidants, which lo and behold, African botanicals are the best antioxidants. They exist in the harshest climates, so they are strong. Things like African resurrection plant has the highest antioxidant levels in the planet, not just the continent. So it was doing that, using exfoliants to take skin or to take stagnant hyperpigmentation once it's already there. Things we know and love, AHAs, BHAs, PHAs, which we're all used to. But at the back of that, you need tyrosinase inhibitors. So you need the tranexamic acids, you need the licorice root, you need retinoids, to help increase your cellular turnover. So we decided to take A-Beauty and all of its goodness and combine it with leading science that looked at this issue, wasn't going to trigger it again, and to treat it holistically. And I think that felt innovative for us, and not because it's like some brand new concept, it's because no one wants to spend the money to do it the right way, because they see us as a niche customer, and we're not. Hyperpigmentation is an issue that affects all skin types. It may display itself differently on different skin, but everyone's affected by it, and it's going to be one of the biggest consumer driving driving consumer purchases in the future, and it's already blowing up. So it feels like we're kind of getting ahead of the phrasing of it, but it's here to stay, if that helps.
No, does that help? That was incredible. Wow. Thank you so much.
Also, if you haven't watched Ruro's content, she's a queen, okay? She just goes a deep dive into everything, and she's put so much love and research into this panel. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm not going to cry, everyone. I actually do want to dig in with you, Avna, on community. Just because, we can't discuss community and not talk about A-Beauty, but I think we also can't talk about A-Beauty's community without speaking about you and Hana Hana, truly. Oh. I am in awe of what you've built, but something that I don't know, many people may not be aware that you actually gave the opportunity for your loyal customers to have equity, which is unheard of for consumer brands. It is incredibly disruptive when we think about the early stage beauty ecosystem. What you're doing is some Steve Jobs level stuff. And so I would love to get deeper with you as you think about connecting community across the diaspora, as you think about providing increased opportunity, and obviously don't be ashy. I want to hear it all. So I'll pass it to you on what does community mean with Hana Hana and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, thank you. I started Hana Hana in my kitchen. I was a teacher. I was going to grad school. I would have never thought I would have been on this stage, and the reason why I'm here is because of community. Community was the reason why I actually even started the business. And so for me, especially understanding the numbers behind the beauty industry as Black women, and we see it here, we're spending, we're excited, we're enjoying beauty. We spend the most, 9 times more than anyone else. And so for me, when building Hana Hana, I wanted to be really intentional about just not only sustainability, but what access we could bring, and also the transparency behind it. So being able to tell the story, show the process around how we source, why we spend or pay 2 times the asking price, why we create access to healthcare, but on the other end, how do we create access to equity too? As a brand that's growing, it's important for us. Obviously, we have supporters. There's people that are spending thousands of dollars yearly, and I see it, So it's like, why not give our customers the opportunity to actually invest early, And I think community is just important, and we see that, community is the reason why brands grow. And especially in a time like this where a lot of Black-owned brands are closing down because of lack of access to capital, it's the communities that continue to rise up. And so for Hana Hana, I always tell my team, it's around the degrees of conversion for us. When you think of just building brand, we don't need to sell a product to you for you to be a part of our community. You can be a part of our community through the activations. You can be a part of the community because you want to stay moisturized and you just want to learn. A lot of people have shea butter is not new to us, but good quality shea butter used in different products is new to us at times, and that's what we try to do at Hana Hana. And we are so intentional around it because I don't just want to create products just to create. We want to create it for people that actually want it. So when we launch products, we launch it with our community. Our chemist is a Ghanaian woman. Our team is Black women, and we have our community test the products before they even come out, because at the end of the day, the only way we're sustained is through our communities, from the producers to our actual customers. So for us is to be able to go back to them.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Truly, I'd love a round of applause because that's incredible. I know we only have a couple of minutes left, so I wanted to ask one last question, more so thinking about the future, about the dialogue of A-Beauty that we'd like to create. Especially, Sabrina, you touched on hyperpigmentation becoming the next wave, the biggest boom as it relates to the bubbles of skincare and the economy. I think also something that I'd love to touch on as well, or I'd love you guys to touch on in your answers, would be the sustainable and ethical sourcing and the work that both of you are doing as it relates to creating equitable and safe environments for the people who are growing these ingredients, which is also unheard of as it relates to other beauties around the world. So, and Delanique, I would love to think through with you and the future, the dialogue around the curation economy and where you think that's gonna go. So anyways, I'll pause, I'll let you guys talk, and then we're done.
I think there's a lot to be said. First, it's a big issue, and I don't think it's talked about enough because we talk about fast fashion and the impact that that has on the world. We talk about fair trade food and the impact that that has on farmers and growers and distributors to an extent, but we don't talk about it when it comes to beauty. And I don't think that there is a connection for the customer when they pick a product up off of a counter that relates them where that product comes from. Because by the time it's bottled up and packaged and on that retailer, it's moved that we kind of go, oh, I didn't even realize this has a people impact. And actually, when we talk about climate, we don't talk about the face of climate change, which, by the way, is a black woman, looks like us. The women who are growing in rural communities, on smallholder farms, who are facing the effects of climate change every day. Not in the future, it's there today. I was just in Zambia, this is like 6 months ago, and I was driving, I went to go see some baobab trees, which I love, and I was driving with my driver, and we were driving by some burnt corn crops. And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened to the crops? And he's like, oh, rainy season didn't come this year. It wasn't that it was like, short of, or it was only a couple days. It didn't come at all. Like, the impact of that is so very real for so many people on the ground. Now, when it relates to beauty, if we're asking people to grow these amazing ingredients so that we can put them on our faces and feel beautiful and put them on our skin and feel not ashy, there's a level of responsibility when that person's capital is directly related to those ingredients. Their crops are their capital. That's how they send their children to school. It's how they break down gender barriers. It's how they sorry, my mic is funny. Testing. Because they literally are the custodians of our planet. They're the ones who are protecting the biodiversity, and they're the ones who need the adaptive measures put in place so that they can survive and become entrepreneurs, and they have every right to build themselves in an entrepreneurial way just as much as we do. So when you buy fair trade beauty, you're actually investing in smallholder farmers around the world. And Hana is such a great example of this because she's not just paying market rate, she's paying above market rate, which you can imagine as a woman in some of these countries trying to go to a market, not knowing, first of all, what the market rate is, trying to advocate for yourself. It takes all of us. And we just need to remember where these ingredients come from. So it's something I've become passionate about at the brand. It's something I do in my philanthropic work, and I don't think it gets enough attention. World Vision just put out a report on the child labor issues associated with vanilla farming, which they found linked to bigger conglomerates. And that opens up a bigger question. We're doing it as the smaller brands. What are the bigger brands doing? What are the Estee Lauders and the Unilevers, and I'm sorry to call them out, but they need to be called out. Where's the infrastructure that they are putting in place to allow farmers not only to know what the weather is going to be like next month, but also what market rates are, how to use adaptive seeds, different farming techniques. This is so important. Even things like filling out DHL forms and safety sheets so that we can include small farmers in the conversation, it's all part of it. So I think sustainable farming needs to become frontline in the conversation when it comes to A-Beauty. And if we're going to do it, trust us, we're going to do it right. So look to Black founders and African founders as the ones who are doing it right, because we care, and there's a level of responsibility there that we can't avoid.
Thank you so much. Okay, rapid fire, you two.
Yeah, no, well said. And I think, too, in general, it's also just really good business. It's good for everyone. I think when you think more so of that end-to-end support and that end-to-end journey of your product, you have to think about the farmers, you have to think about the producers. And then as a business, I think both for Sable and Hana Hana, is that you have to also think about the customer experience. And sustainability is the way to do it because your skin is also kind of like absorbing those products, right? You're absorbing those ingredients, and so you want to think about the effects of what they have on us. It's not just our food, it's not the clothes that we're wearing. Everything has a daily effect on our body, and just like our microbiome, you don't want to disturb that. I think it also goes back to the hyperpigmentation question that we talk about. We're sold a lot of chemicals and do this to treat this, and it's good. I think retinol is great, but then if you sell a serum with chemicals that's not good for darker skin tone, and also a cleanser, and also a moisturizer, you have a full routine that's disrupting that barrier, right? So think about those ingredients and how they can actually benefit the consumer, and also how we're supporting the producers. When I'm sourcing brands and I'm curating brands for Skintellect, I'm thinking about in how they are tackling that issue, and how I can continue to champion that and support that in the best way possible. So I think these two brands are doing it in a way that I haven't seen before, especially when you think about supporting farmers, and also thinking about innovation in product. And I'm excited to see where the industry goes. It's quote unquote new, but it's not. And I think 10 years from now, the way how K-beauty is on the tip of everyone's tongue, I think A-beauty will be too.
Thank you, Avna.
I think, the sustainability of A-beauty is really around the marketing. When you look at the historic of like K-beauty was like government pushed, it was pushed by the consumers. People were very proud of like, this is a K-beauty product. And I think it's about the marketing of it. There's a lot of brands that utilize African ingredients, Caribbean ingredients. It's how we market. It's important for us to know the brands that are out here. This is important. These types of moments where we're talking about the fact of like the state of A-beauty is within us, and how we continue to push, how we continue to invest in those brands, and how we continue to learn about more things. And Hana Hana, we've been really focus on marketing what we do, showcasing when we go to healthcare days, showcasing how our team grows, showcasing other brands through our routine. I know the founders of Anuli are here, and they're an A-beauty brand too. There's so many different brands that are doing these things. And so I think it's like really important for us to continue to push it. It's like a big moment where we keep writing, we keep talking, we keep sharing about it. But as founders, we have to market ourselves as A-beauty brands, so that when you Google A-beauty, it's not Australian beauty, it's African beauty, And I think it's so important around that marketability of it as in general, because if we don't market it ourselves, you will find that the other brands, the other people start catching on and saying they're A-beauty.
Yeah.
And just because they have one ingredient that everyone knows, it might be moringa, it might be balba, it might be shea, and they're that. And so I think it's so important for us to not only create a definition around what it is, but to market it of what it is and create those routines.
I love that. Thank you so much. You spilled tea, all of you actually. There was a lot of tea this morning. Thank you so much. Each of you, truly, it's an honor to have shared this stage with you. It's an honor to be in conversation with each of you. And I hope that you have a lovely rest of your Essence Fest. Give everyone a round of applause, including yourselves. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.